So hello my dear friends, welcome back. Welcome to your channel Cooking Astrology. First of all, I would like to thank all of you for subscribing my channel and liking my videos. Thanks a lot. So let's continue our journey, our discussion of planets through Navamsa Chart in Vedic Astrology. And in this particular video, let's try to decode planet Venus placement in the 12th house of your D-9 chart. And what are going to be the positive, negative, and even the spiritual aspects that are specifically connected with this placement. Let's try to understand in this particular video. The very first thing you need to have some basic understanding with regards to the functionings of the 12th house of the D9 chart. And 12th house first of all represents the resting place. Okay, this is the final resting place. And as you know, Venus is the sole significator of the Navamsha Kundli. Just like Sun is the sole significator, the Atamkarak Graha in the D1 chart, Saturn is the Atamkarak of the D10 Dashman chart of the career. Venus particularly is the soul, it's the Atman of your D9 chart. Now whenever Venus first of all goes into the 12th house, this is a very excellent placement in order for you to experience family life along with the spiritual side at the same time. Secondly, 12th house is also the house which particularly represent any sort of foreign travel which you are going to be taking specifically after marriage. So this is also the house which shows the karmic association and karmic connectivity between two people. Because I have seen sometime because of the husband planetary alignments, it's triggering the event of foreign travel, foreign settlement. So any sort of foreign travel, permanent settlement into the foreign country, even raising your kids into the foreign country, that is also particularly seen with this placement. 12th house is also the house which represents the isolation. Now isolation not necessarily it's a negative thing. Sometimes individuals, in order to experience the higher spiritual side of the life, they tend to become isolated from the hustle bustle of the society. So 12th house is also that isolated place. This is also the dreamland actually, where the vivid imaginations are going to be there. This is also the higher house which actually have the capacity to understand the workings of the higher principles of the universe actually. 12th house is also the house which have the capacity to bring you one step closer to the purpose of your soul actually. Now very first thing, whenever the Venus is actually going into the 12th house, any sort of relationship aspect is going to be creating a lot of void inside the individual's life. Void means the emptiness, okay? So it's first of all going to be creating a lot of emptiness inside the individual, or you can also call it as a hollowness. And that hollowness which is created by Venus placement in the 12th house, this hollowness is going to be then filled with the spiritual aspects of the life. Because I told you already, 12th house is the house of spirituality, and Venus, which is the sole significator, it's the Atamkarak Graha. So in the 12th house, Venus first of all have the capacity to experience the depth of the spirituality in a much greater manner. And that is where the voidness or the emptiness which is created by the relationship aspect actually have the capacity to help you rise into the spiritual side of the life. Second important point, the event of marriage also have the capacity to create financial upliftment at the same time, because this is also one of the strongest placements of the D9 chart that actually have the capacity to bless you with a significant amount of wealth. Here I'm not saying it's a combination of becoming a billionaire or a multi-millionaire, but Venus is actually having the capacity to provide you wealth for the sustenance and the survival standpoint of view. And if your sustenance and survival is happening because of this Venus placement, only then you individuals will be able to look into the higher realms of the life. So that is going to be a very positive thing. Apart from this thing, if any sort of affliction happening with this Venus, it may be Venus is afflicted with Rahu, Ketu, or some other malefic planets like Saturn, Mars, they are also afflicting this Venus. Now in that case, what will happen? This actually have the capacity to create certain mental and the physical health issues inside your partner. And sometime I will tell you, Venus is the significator of progeny. Children are also particularly connected with Venus, because Venus is Shukra. Shukra is Shukranu, it's the sperm part which is present inside the human body. So from the fertility standpoint of view, Venus having affliction with the malefics in the 12th house actually have the capacity to create a delayed childbirth. Although it's not a combination where the total denial of children are going to be there, Specifically, the event of foreign travel and foreign settlement also have the capacity to trigger the event of childbirth at the same time. Because you need to understand one very important point here. The karmic connectivity of the husband, wife and kids chart are connected in such a way. Sometime your chart is creating impact over your partner, and your kids chart are also going to be impacting you in the greater manner. So for example, you are having the combination of the kids that are going to be born and brought up into the foreign country. It means you need to go towards the foreign land and foreign country in order for you to obtain a child. So these kind of predictions can also be seen with this Venus placement in the 12th house. Apart from this thing, from the intimacy standpoint of view, Venus is very active whenever it's actually going into the 12th house. Even depending over the dignity of this graha. Dignity simply mean like if for example Venus is in the fire elements, like in the sign of Aries, Sagittarius, also even in the sign of Leo. So this actually have the capacity to create a negative impact into the individual's life. Because I will tell you, in the Agni or the fire elements, Venus actually have the capacity to have lot of indulgence into the sexual activities at the same time. Whereas if the Venus dignity is very strong, specifically in the earth element, in the Virgo also, even in the sign of Capricorn at the same time, earth element actually have the capacity to protect the significance of the Venus in the much better way, whereas Agni have the capacity to dissipate the significance of Venus into the much negative side of the life. And that is where this part is also going to be becoming a big obstruction factor in front of the spiritual growth of these individuals. Although many a times, depending over the partner chart also, this actually have the capacity to create a positive or the negative result. But most of the time, Venus in the Agni Tattva Rashi have the capacity to create more sexual dissipation. If this Venus, for example, is going in the air elements, like the sign of Libra, Gemini also, then the continuous learning is going to be a part of your own life. And that is also the placement where it becomes very difficult for you to get stabilized in one particular location for the longer duration of the time. It's like that as soon as you are getting married, you are moving in one particular location. After 2-3 years, again you as a couple need to shift towards some new place. Again you need to shift. So that continuous shifting is going to be happening with the air element specifically. And that is not happening in the negative side. I told you the continuous learning process is also the part of this Venus. So in the air element, Venus actually have the capacity to experience more and more energy. The more and more urja is also going to be there in that particular area. If this Venus is going into the Pisces or the Cancer, specifically the watery zodiac sign, it's a good placement for the wealth standpoint of view, because continuous flow of wealth is going to be there. Venus in the watery signs in the D9 chart represent a continuous flow of wealth is going to be there. This is also a placement where individuals actually have the capacity to enjoy their wealth. Many people, they have the capacity to earn wealth, but very few will be able to enjoy the wealth part. So this is that particular placement of the Venus where you have the capacity to take enjoyment of the wealth part at the same time. Also in the water element specifically, this is also sometime going to be creating difficulties in the progeny, specifically in the water. And that is where the prediction, as I told you, moving into foreign country have the capacity to bring children into these people life at the same time. Apart from this thing, this is also a very good placement if you want to make your career specifically in the field of spirituality, in the field of astrology, numerology, palmistry, occult sciences, medicine also, herbal products, Ayurvedic products at the same time. Anything if you want to do in that specific area, it's a great placement. Even Venus going in the earth elements or forming strong connection with Mercury and Jupiter, it's an excellent placement for you to go into the field of finance also. Specifically speculation, share market, stock market, finance also. I have seen many mutual fund and hedge fund managers with strong Venus in the 12th house. Because Venus also have the capacity of a full sense of the money, like from which areas the money is going to be coming and which area or the flow of money is going to be there. So in order to balance the inward and the outward flow of wealth, this is going to be a good thing. Even one more important point, specifically from the spirituality standpoint of view, if for example there are cluster of planets that are forming connection with Venus, so then this is going to be creating more congestion in your Venus to experience the true essence. Whereas on the other hand, if you are having Venus without affliction and there is no any major congestion happening up there. By mean to say congestion, it's like if Venus is sitting with multiple other planets in the 12th, or there are lot of planets sitting in the first house and even in the previous house to the Venus, that is the 11th house. So this have the capacity to clutter this Venus. So when this Venus energy is becoming more cluttered in the 12th house, this is the only negative thing for the Venus. Because if the congestion part is happening, Venus will not be able to express himself or herself in front of other people. This is also the placement, then this can create more identity loss. And that is where these individuals, they need to chase relationships. They need to chase validations from the other people in order to understand who I am actually. Whereas if Venus is without congestion, it's sitting alone up there, then Venus has the capacity to express much deeply. This is also the placement where, as I initially told you, the secludedness part, the loneliness part is also going to be there. So Venus without congestion also have the capacity to accept the isolation in a much positive manner. And I have also seen many sadhak mean the people who are doing great sadhanas actually, who are into the mantra sadhanas also, doing lot of fasting, chanting of the mantras also. So Venus, if it is without affliction, Venus will flourish in the 12th house, specifically without congestion. Okay, without congestion, Venus has the capacity to fulfill everything, but with the congestion, it's becoming difficult for you to experience the true essence of the Venus in your 12th house. But overall, I will tell you, this is a very great placement in order for you to experience both the family and the spiritual energies at the same time. So basically, it's a blend of the soul, that is your Atman, which is in the 12th house. Because I tell you, this is originally the Pisces where Venus energy will tend to feel like I'm in the exaltation realm. So irrespective of the difficulties which this Venus is facing, they still have the capacity to provide you more wonderful results into your own life. So I hope you have gained some deep insights in this particular video with me. If you are having any queries and consultations with regards to your Navamsha Kundli, marriage, relationship, even career consultation or some spiritual consultation, you can just drop me an email and I will try my best to get back to you as soon as possible. Also make sure to subscribe my channel below, hit the like button if you really enjoyed this video, and I'm going to meet you very soon in the next video. Till then, bye bye and Hare Krishna.